Let's talk about why we avoid or run away from our emotional needs. This is going to happen in early childhood if your caregivers overlooked your emotional needs. So, in this world, in this matrix, right, the physical world is the most important. And so, many people raise their children believing that as long as your physical needs are met, right, you have a roof over your head, you have a comfortable, warm bed to sleep in, you have food on the table, that you're safe. That's your sense of security. But they have left out 3 other planes because the physical plane isn't the only one. What about your emotional plane, your mental plane, and then the spiritual plane? So if you right now in adulthood are somebody who disassociates from their emotional needs, avoids their emotional needs, it's because in childhood, your emotional needs were overlooked, were not important. So then you now have the perception that your emotional needs are not important. This can show up in ways where you may avoid intimacy, you may avoid self-care, you may avoid your basic human needs. Maybe you don't care to shower regularly. Maybe you don't even care to change your sheets or vacuum your home. Maybe you don't care to do what makes you feel good. That's because the distortion of this programming is saying your needs, your happiness is not important. And now that's not to say that your parents or your caregivers or society says specifically word for word that you're not important to me. It's the association that we create in the psyche when stop crying. You're okay. Get over it. Don't worry about that. It's not your problem. Why are you crying over something like that? Your emotions were dismissed. You were told to suppress how you felt, repress what's going on in your emotional state. So those small little things that we are programmed into from childhood, now in adulthood, has us completely avoiding allowing ourselves to connect with our true needs, because the perception is our needs are not important. So to yourself, you're going to keep avoiding them. And then sometimes on the opposite end of that paradigm as well is, let's say, for instance, you connect with people that avoid their emotional needs. That's your direct mirror. But then you also may encounter people that put and or place you as the anchor for their emotional needs. So what this is actually showing us at our core on a nervous system level, that brain and heart coherence, is saying that one, you are avoiding your own emotional needs, but then two, unconsciously placing your emotional needs on somebody else to be the anchor to feed your emotional needs. Because your emotional needs were not met, you still want them met, but instead of connecting with them yourself, you're avoiding them and placing that need outside of you to be met by somebody else. This is about just allowing yourself to feel again. This is not about rushing off into a relationship. This is not about placing anything outside of ourselves. It is purely about coming back into your heart space and telling yourself that whatever you want to feel, whatever you want to experience, however you want to walk through this world, experience this life, it's yours and yours alone, and it's important. It is not pointless. There's no reason that there should be any shame or guilt or regret around experiencing the wholeness of how you feel. That's where the illusion, the misconception was built. So remind yourself today that what you feel is important. Your emotional needs are important, but you have to meet them, not anybody else. You. And then that is when you will mirror that experience back to you, and it'll be healthy because you now know the importance of your emotional needs being met, but purely from yourself. You're not placing it on somebody else outside of you. It's for you. So you feel whole on the inside, all by yourself. That's the goal.